Who will be the audience for your media product? After carrying out audience research and accurately planning the content of my final product, I have a good idea with who I think would engage with my magazine. I feel my age range would be around the 16 to 25-year-old mark, as the punk genre is rather explicit and would probably not appeal to children under 16. However, themes like political unjust and war would have much more of a relevance within this age gap, as the likelihood is that these people will be interested in these topics, and these topics are commonly in the songs of the punk genre. In an attempt to try and capture a larger audience, I decided to cover a very large variety of the punk genre. I decided that I'd mostly include mainstream punk bands that the audience would more likely be familiar with, like Green Day and Blink-182 for example, but I also included subgenres like beach punk. Despite being rather controversial and an unknown genre, I decided to include this subgenre as the whole beach theme could appeal to the young audience. I feel that gender-wise, the majority of my audience will be male, as the genre is stereotypically dominated by the male gender. However, the use of a female model integrates the genders and makes females more inclined to read the magazine. This means that my audience will be wider, and if a female does want to read my magazine, it will also appeal to her. I've included bands that are widely known in the USA. So if I were to sell this magazine globally, it has the ability to impact large consumer countries like the USA. This means the target audience has the ability to not just be regional, but to be global as well. This increases my target audience size, as punk listeners can be found in countries like Germany, France, or the USA like I said. Unfortunately, the punk audience is dominated by white British. Ethnic minorities are commonly negatively spoken about within the working class, as they are influenced by the negative music they hear. If I were to include an article about an ethnic minority punk group, the likelihood is the audience will have no interest in it. As for my research, I have found hardly any people from an ethnic minority listen to punk. I've decided not to take the risk and focus my magazine plainly on a Caucasian target audience to appeal to the majority. I feel that my target audience class would be working class. As from research, I found out that the punk audience prefer to associate themselves within this class, as they see themselves as hardworking and tired of the corrupt bourgeoisie society. However, I feel that this magazine could be enjoyed to the same extent by middle class people, as the working class undertones I put in my magazine are only subtle. Similar to ethnicity, sexuality is difficult to portray in my product. Despite wanting my product to appeal to various sexualities, I feel that my target audience will only be heterosexual males. Again, this is because of the controversial undertones in the music and the fact that there is hardly any bisexual or homosexual punk bands. By only focusing on heterosexual males, the audience will be more engaged with this magazine, as they do not want to be seen as weak or camp, which are stereotypes of these sexualities. In conclusion, the audience for my media product would be 16 to 25-year-olds, heterosexual males that are Caucasian and in the working class. And I also feel that my audience will be global. However, my final product could be improved to fit a wider target audience. If I decided to undergo more research, I'll be able to get an even more accurate representation of my target audience. As in the end, I only managed to interview one person that fits my target audience, and obviously his representation of punk is going to be different to other people's representations of the genre. So with more research, I could potentially increase the amount of readers, as there be more topics and social groups covered in the magazine.